Hey everybody, this is Mike Schrenk. Welcome to this series of 10 bot demos and code reviews for the book, Developing Bots with Selenium Python. If you got here via a link from the book, well, thank you. If you got here because you used a shared link, well, thank you as well. But please remember to like and subscribe below.
The creative misapplication of technology.
Hey everybody, this is Mike and welcome. Welcome to Project 6. This is number 6 in a series of 10 projects that go with my book, Developing Bots with Selenium Python. What we are looking at today is a situation that you will run into if you write bots for any length of time. That is a situation where you have data from multiple sources. You need to go, it's similar data. You need to collect it and consolidate it in a single place. That data is going to be in various formats. It's going to look different. But it's important that you get it into one single source. This is something that you'll be doing over and over again, and I've done this kind of stuff for investors. I've done this for people who do research. This is a very common bot development type activity. It's also a good idea to start looking at some of the theory that goes behind some of this. I would highly recommend at this point reading ahead to chapter 18 in section 3, which is on parsing and the semantic web, where you get a little more theory behind some of this parsing is done. I would suggest you look ahead to chapter 16 on locators, because we are going to be using XPath as a locator, and we talk about that in depth in chapter 16. I would also suggest looking ahead to chapter 15 on the DOM, and that would give you more insight as to how XPath works. Also, at the conclusion of this project, we take all the data and we put it together in a comma-separated values file. To get a better idea why we're doing that and what we do with it when we're done, highly recommend chapter 22 on big data is a big headache. Okay, onto our project. Let's look at our sources. So what we have here is we have some sales data that we need to collect for some reason. Consider this just open source data, and we have access to this stuff, and we are using it for, I don't know, an awards ceremony. I have no idea. So here's the data. Pretty straightforward. Everything is in a table. The approach to parsing that we're going to take in this is simply we are going to download the table. We're going to make an array of all the rows, and then we're going to iterate through the rows, looking at each individual data cell and putting that into a comma-separated values file. Okay, that's what's going to happen here. On the second source, you notice this is still similar. It's tab data, but we're going to take a very different approach to how we parse this. Here we're going to use XPath, and we are basically just going to iterate through the DOM, if that makes any sense, to pull in all this data. The one other small caveat here is that the names are hidden in a title attribute in a link. And then our third source here looks like maybe something that was designed for a fax machine in the 90s, I don't know. But this is fairly unformatted, and we'll look at ways of parsing this and also putting it into a comma-separated values file. So let's look at the bot, and let's watch the bot run and see what happens. First, let's look at what's in this home directory here. We have the actual file itself, parseaggregate.py. This is a backup file that the editor I use makes, and that's all that's in this file. What will end up coming into this file is a log file, because we're using the framework, and also the CSV file that we're collecting is also going to end up here. All right, let's run this bot. Here we can see it's out at the first source, and it is busy writing stuff to the CSV file. We didn't even see it download and parse. We're giving it a good delay here. Here we're coming into the second source, and notice it's writing it all out here. And now we are coming out, a little delay. And now we're coming out to the third source, which has already been parsed and written to the CSV file. These delays are longer than what we need. If we were doing this in a real production sense, in this case, there would be no need to wait between these, because these we're pretending they're on entirely different sources, so one doesn't know about the other. So basically, the bot can run as fast as you would like to in this particular case. All right, let's look at the code. Well, first, before we look at the code, let's take a look at what is in this directory now. We can see that we now have a log file, and this log file, again, would be exactly the same as what was echoed out to the console here. And again, this is taken care of by the framework that I keep talking about. Here is our test CSV file. Let's pull that up. Okay, so here is that directory. Let's go ahead and look at this file. Here we go, and we can see we have beautiful data. We also see that it's identified as to what group it came from. Here we got representatives from group 1, group 2, and group 3. So that's all good to see. So our bot is working. Let's take a look at the code. And again, you hear me talking about the framework all the time. The framework is something we introduced in project 2 from section 2. And the framework basically is the place where we put our bot, and our bot operates within the framework. Framework handles a lot of paths, it handles libraries, and it handles things like logging. All right, so we just put our bot inside the payload, inside the framework. So the first thing we do here is we delete any old CSV files. I do that just out of convenience. You could do anything you want to with them. We also have a function that initiates an array that we call CSV. This is how we build the CSV file. We build an array, and then we pass that array to this function called write_CSV, where we pass the name of the log file, the file name that we are creating, and also the array that has the data. If that file doesn't exist, it creates the file, which means it puts out the header, which is identified right here. Then it writes everything out, does a little strip of the data. It appends the new data to the old data, and then we announce that we did this, and then we do the append file. All right, first source. Remember, this is the one we were going to take the table, split out the rows, then split out the table cells. I'm not going to go into deep detail here, but basically what we do is we use parse array to pull out all the rows. And if you recognize parse array, there's a similarly named function in my previous books. You'll notice a lot of references to my old PHP libraries. They're renamed as Python functions now. Parse array is one of those, and that's how we grab out all the table rows. And we do another parse array later on as we iterate through those rows to pull out the table cells, and then we put them into the CSV file, and we do a write CSV, and the data goes along. And the data goes up, goes to the file. Second source, we take a little bit different approach here, even though it's also tab data. Here we're going to use XPath, and if you haven't gone ahead and read chapters 18 or 16 yet, basically XPath takes the structure of the web page, which is known as DOM, and it puts it into a structured array. So all of these table cells that you see within that table, they're actually array elements within the structure. And without getting into a whole lot of detail, the structure looks kind of like this. So if we can just iterate through these table cells, as long as we can identify the row, we can access that data. We can do that through some pretty simple JavaScript-y looking stuff here in Selenium. So basically what we're doing here is we're setting up some Python exception handling. As long as that data exists, we're going to go through and collect all the data in that row. As soon as it doesn't exist, we pop down here to the exception handler, and we just say we found the last row. But before we do that, we initialize the CSV array, and we fill it with all the data that we pulled out of the rows, and we write it off to the CSV file. There's a couple things going on here. One of the things that I'm doing is what I call my insertion parse. What I will do is I will find something on this page that I look at as something that delineates one record from another. And in this particular case, I decided that it was name : because name : separates this record from this record from this record from this record. So what I do is I replace every occurrence of name : with close tag, open tag, and then I stick a open tag at the beginning of everything, and that makes it really easy to parse stuff, because then I can just use parse array and take everything between the tags. Once you get to that point, the parsing, if you look at this, there's a few other things that are consistent, like tab structure, that kind of stuff. Basically, you look for the best landmarks you can find You use things like split string and return between to return those other values. And that's how you take data from different places and put it into one concise place. More on this, I would highly suggest, after going through this, reading chapter 22, Big Data, Big Headache, because that talks about what you're going to do with this CSV file. Otherwise, thanks for coming with us, and we'll see you in Project 7.